Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to the Plant-Based Diet Podcast, where we talk about all things plant-based. I'm Esther Garfin, the host of this show and founder of Alternative Food Network. Join me and my amazing array of guests who are a mix of healthcare professionals, industry executives, and people with an interesting story to tell about their plant-based journey. Let us help you with your journey, wherever you're at, to learn the what, why, and how to eat plant-based. The first half of today's episode is about the why of plant-based eating from a health perspective. Chronic diseases like cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, and certain cancers are on the rise globally. So I want to bring you the evidence that's out there with regards to plant-based eating. The second half of the episode will help you with the how best to incorporate plant-based foods into your diet. To help me do this, I'm joined by Sheetal Parikh, who holds 2 Bachelor of Science degrees and a Master of Dietetics and Nutrition. Sheetal is a corporate dietitian, has written multiple plant-based peer-reviewed articles and blogs in nationally recognized professional magazines. She counsels patients on consuming plant-based food for health and environmental well-being, and creates innovative plant-based recipes that blend Eastern and Western cultures. In fact, if you subscribe to Alternative Food Network's free monthly newsletter at alternativefoodnetwork.com, in the next issue, there's going to be a recipe from my guest for a chickpea masala curry with rice. As always, I appreciate you sharing this episode with others who could benefit from this information. And if you haven't already followed this series on Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen, please do so. This show is the answer to all of your questions about plant-based eating. As well, if you're curious about the topic of culinary medicine, which is a newer evidence-based field of medicine that blends the art of food and cooking with the science of medicine to prevent and treat disease, I encourage you to subscribe to Culinary Medicine Recipe, which is hosted by a medical doctor who also loves to cook. Like this plant-based diet series, Culinary Medicine Recipe is an Alternative Food Network production and is available on all major podcast platforms, on YouTube, and on alternativefoodnetwork.com. Welcome to the show, Sheetal. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's my absolute pleasure to be here today.
I'm looking forward to our conversation. It's an important one. One of, obviously, the main reasons we do this show is because I believe in the health benefits of eating a plant-based diet or a plant-forward diet. And so today, I just want to get right into it and ask you about the evidence. What is the evidence that shows that plant-based eating is good for our health?
Absolutely. Plant-based diets have gained increasing attention for their potential role in preventive medicine, particularly in reducing the risk of chronic diseases such as type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, obesity, and metabolic syndrome. So, Esther, to answer your question, there are many compelling research findings linking to plant-based diets to improved health outcomes. So it is such a coincidence, but a very prominent research came out, and one of those is the position paper on vegetarian and vegan diets by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics in association with the Vegetarian Nutrition Dietetic Practice Group. And this paper discussed how appropriately planned plant-based diet can be nutritionally adequate and offer long-term health benefits. Interestingly, this article contains 27 systematic reviews examine the relationship between the plant-based dietary patterns with reduced incidence of cardiovascular disease, cancer, blood pressure, blood lipids, and C-reactive protein concentration, as well as lowering the body mass index. The other recent study by author Sultan A. and his colleagues also gathered evidence from 32 longitudinal studies to evaluate the impact of plant-based diet on disease prevention and health outcomes. It identified consistent patterns, including improved metabolic health, weight management, cardiovascular risk reduction, positive effects on gut microbiome, composition and inflammation, prevention and management of type 2 diabetes. And this is really important to note that it also talked about how the plant-based diet helped reduce the hemoglobin A1C levels up to 34% population when they actually consume the plant-based diet. And Esther, these are not only the two studies. There are numerous other studies like this that do endorse the positive impact of plant-based diet on human health. And very quickly, like in a sentence, I'm going to name a few, like a study from Dr. Campbell 2017 and Chen et al. 2018 showed a whole plant-based foods intervention resulted in a significant weight loss, which helped lowering the blood pressure and the cholesterol level. And over the quarter of participants, I'm going to repeat this is so important, and I want the audience to hear this. Over a quarter of participants were able to decrease or discontinue at least one chronic medication. Can you imagine how wonderful is that?
That's amazing. So what I'm hearing from you is studies showing that it's helpful for both disease management and prevention.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you look at any chronic diseases, excess weight to heart health, to diabetes, to cancer, everybody, at the end of the day, everybody is getting the same answer, is how plant-based diet is so impactful on the human health.
And what is it about the plant-based foods? Like, what are the nutrients that really contribute to these findings?
Yes, absolutely. I will discuss key nutrients of plant-based foods that help the chronic diseases. And I would like to discuss this with chronic diseases and nutrients, because I personally feel that they go hand in hand. First, what is a chronic disease? According to the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, the chronic diseases are defined broadly as conditions that last 1 year or more and require ongoing medical attention. They also limit activities of the daily living. Talking about the common chronic diseases, number one, that I call the king of all the chronic diseases, is increased weight, because that is the one thing that leads to most of the things, I would say, if not all. So first, because from the plant sources are generally high in fiber and low in fat, they have low energy density. So that means fewer calories per gram. Secondly, low fat plant based diets increase after meal energy expenditure, simply an increased calorie burn after meals. Consuming whole grains is associated with low risk of increased body mass index. And you know, the central obesity that we usually see within men and women in today's world. So if we include the whole grains with each meal, such as whole wheat or sprouted bread, whole wheat pasta, oatmeal, corn, polenta, millet, quinoa, brown rice, barley, bulgur, buckwheat, and whole wheat corn and tortillas, they all actually work wonders. So the easiest way what audience people can do is whenever they go to the grocery store and they want to buy any kind of carbohydrates or these grains, always look for the words, the whole grains. And that can really help limiting consuming the refined carbohydrates. The next thing I will touch here is legumes. They include all type of beans, peas, lentils, soybean, tofu, tempeh, edamame. And what does these do? They also promote the weight loss if we eat them daily, And the best thing about it is it makes you feel full. It gives you satiety. It just gives you a lot of satisfaction. So you don't keep on reaching out for the food again and again. And, the important part here is these are also the great source of protein. And people usually think that eating meat is only going to replace their needs of protein, which is not true. Again, the fresh fruits also includes lots and lots of nutrients. So according to the National Cancer Institute, only up to 10% of cancer cases are linked to genetics, but the remaining 90% or more are stem from environmental and the lifestyle factors, that can be potentially preventable. So when we eat fiber, and where can we find this fiber? Fiber is found in lots of fruits and vegetables and even whole grains and beans. And what they do, they fight cancer from the digestive tract. So fiber then moves food quickly through the intestinal tract, helping to eliminate carcinogens as waste. The most dietary fiber a person consumes, the lower risk of colorectal, prostate, stomach, and breast cancer.
Is there a study that you can point someone to if they're listening and they would like to read it or find out more?
There are many studies in regards to cancer. If anybody has not heard of Dan Buettner or the Blue Zones, that is the place in the world with the healthiest, longest living population. And Dr. Buettner has very beautifully explained what is one of the reasons where people live longer and healthier, like in the regions like Okinawa, Japan, Sardinia, Italy, Nicoya, Costa Rica, Acaria, Greece, and Loma Linda, California. And he does put into how consuming plant-based food helped combat diseases like not just cancer, but all the other ones. If you want, I can definitely share with you a lot of studies that are on plant-based diet and cancer prevention where, our audience can go in and look into it.
Maybe what I could do when we publish the episode is in the show notes, add some links to articles, some of them that you've mentioned here, and perhaps some other ones that you think about after the episode. So people have as a reference some evidence-based scientific articles.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll do that.
I can share it. I can share it with you for any and all the chronic diseases that I am mentioning to you right now.
That would be great.
I quickly want to touch base about diabetes and heart diseases because those are also very two prominent chronic diseases. And I will start with here that diabetes has estimated more than 70% of new cases that people actually experience at this time can be prevented. And this is very mind-boggling data that just by having a great lifestyle in meaning of healthy lifestyle and food choices then can really helps combat diabetes. So the research says just 2 servings of red meat per week have been associated with the increased risk of type 2 diabetes, while replacing 1 serving of meat per day with legumes, that is, lentils and beans or nuts, is associated with 30% reduced risk of type 2 diabetes. I mean, that is significant. Plant-based diets have been consistently found in protective against developing type 2 diabetes. And those who consume just 2 cups of whole grains daily had 26% lower risk of developing diabetes. And this is very important. I want audience to know the fruit is given a bad name when it comes to diabetes because they think that fruit is having a high amount of sugar, and there's a misconception that you shouldn't be consuming in diabetes. Let me tell you right now that fruit is not the same as the sugar found in the refined foods. The sugar in the fruit comes packed with fiber, phytochemicals, antioxidants, and more. So the appropriate portions, timing, and the combination the fruit is eaten during the day definitely helps control the blood glucose levels. So don't make the fruit a villain within your diet. If you have a high blood glucose, that will actually help you in a better way.
Okay. I actually had a question regarding
Yes.
something you were talking about earlier about meat and the portions.
Yes.
What is considered a portion size? When people hear about portion sizes, I'm not sure that people really know what that means.
Yes, so a great question, Esther. So portion, when you say a portion, I would say the portion of the meat is anywhere from 3 ounce to 5 ounce. Now, if you go to a restaurant, they would also give you 8 ounce of meat. But a real portion is actually 3 ounce. And I always tell my patients, your meat should not exceed the palm of your hand. That's the best way to, measure the portion. And if you want to now compare that portion with plant-based protein, I would say a cup that is a 8 ounce. So if you compare, it's a 3 ounce meat versus 8 ounce of your protein that is beans or maybe tofu, and that's the comparison. And with the heart, it is the same thing. There are doctors like Dean Ornish, Dr. Esselton, and others have showed that low-fat plant-based diet combined with regular exercise and overall lifestyle change have made a significant difference within the heart diseases. And there's only reason. Did you know that plant-based diet benefits heart health because they contain no dietary cholesterol? So I want to pinpoint here. There are two types of cholesterol where our body gets. One, it synthesizes from within, and second, we get it from the food. Now, of course, you can control certain things that is happening in the body, which is getting synthesized. But what can you control? The cholesterol from the food. And if you eat the whole plant-based food, there would be no cholesterol. And there has been studies that has found that people eating more plant-based foods, whole grains, they actually help eliminating cholesterol from the human body. So a very, very impactful research and evidence.
Yeah, I remember we were interviewing a doctor. This was a while back, and he was saying if it's got two eyes, a nose, and a mouth, it's got cholesterol.
Oh, that is such a beautiful way to say. I think I might steal these lines.
Yeah, it's kind of an easy way to remember if someone's wondering, well, what does have cholesterol? That's what
Yes.
has it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is all like a circle. Because of the food, you gain weight, you have high blood pressure, that leads to your diabetes, that leads to your heart diseases and the complications. And of course, one of them is a cancer. So I would say it's a vicious cycle that go around with eating foods, and we don't realize what we keep in this. Like when we put anything in our mouth, that really impacts directly from our head to toe. And unfortunately, we just take it as granted because we do everything that this 3 inches of our body loves, which is tongue, and we don't realize all the other benefits that actually our body gets. So, and of course, it's a behavior change, right? Nothing comes overnight. It comes with the awareness. It comes with every person. There is a point where you want to make a change. So I would say it's never too late. I think the best way to say that. And so you can start from whatever part of the country you are in, or what age you are at the moment and where you want to be. It's just you have to be kind to yourself and start. That's all.
And if someone wants to start, what do you have any good, easy first steps that they should take?
Yes, absolutely. So I would say this: start slowly but surely. Don't be harsh on yourself. Now there are two kind of people. One group of people that would start things slowly and get to it, and there are one group of people that will go cold turkey, meaning they will say, okay, from tomorrow morning I'm not going to have any meat in my diet and I'm going to be all plant-based. Well, it doesn't work for everybody. So I would say overall start slowly and surely, because when you do that, you won't fall off the wagon. You will stick to it. Start with the small changes. Transition to a plant-based diet does not have to be overwhelming. Esther, I want to make sure that people understand that just by making a small manageable changes to your current eating habits, that will make a huge impact. And that is how, say, for example, I'm sure many of you may have heard meatless Mondays. Why Mondays? There was my patients one asked me, Shiva, why Monday? Why can't I not just do Thursday? I said, I have a reason for it because, we are so relaxed, we indulge. It's like, after 31st of December, everybody wants to not drink for a month. It's like detoxing your body. And I said, that's the same way, like, you have enjoyed your weekend and now you want to really do something better for your health. So, and it does make sense, meatless Mondays. So designate one day of the week, doesn't have to be Monday. This simple approach allows you to experiment with plant-based meals without feeling deprived. Gradually increasing the number of meatless days can become more comfortable if you keep on cooking plant-based foods. I would say start with the breakfast. Example, whatever you may be eating, maybe an egg sandwich or whatever breakfast you might be doing. Start your first meal, that is your breakfast, with oatmeal topped with fresh fruits or nuts, or avocado toast on a whole grain bread, or fresh fruit smoothie with some maybe cashews and nuts. Swap dairy products with the plant-based alternative. Try different plant-based milks like almond, soy, oat milk in your coffee, and you will be really amazed. My favorite, I will say, is the oat milk because it has the least after impact on your coffee or your drink because it really doesn't have any flavor. But
You know what I use also? I mean, when I'm in a rush and once in a while I have cereal, I have a nut or an oat milk instead of milk in my cereal.
that
It's
is
not an
very
issue.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and Esther, let me ask you, do you find there's a much of a taste
No,
difference?
it's fine. Both my husband and I have cereal like that when we have cereal. Yeah. It's totally fine.
Yeah, yeah. That thank you for sharing that because that is awesome. And you will be amazed when you start swapping. You will be so proud of yourself because you will be finding new you and new ideas that will help you with your health journey. Like for example, if you're eating meat, say for example, how about instead of like a chicken stew or any meat stew, you just add a couple of like different beans in there. And if you are not aware how to cook the beans, it is completely okay to go and buy the canned beans. I am a huge advocate for that. Of course you opt for low salt canned beans, but it is definitely very easy where you just have to open and eat it. I
Yeah,
am
and it's cheaper,
it's
it's easy, it's cheap,
yes.
and I mean if people are wondering about recipes, there's plant-based recipes everywhere. Even we have on our YouTube channel, we have plant-based recipes as well, but I mean really that can't be someone's excuse that they don't know what to make because there are recipes everywhere.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this way you can swap any and all foods. For protein, you can do tofu. Tofu is an excellent, I know there is some misconceptions out there thinking that the tofu is not good for you or it does impact the female or the man hormones. Eating 1 to 2 cups each day there are lots of research even over there that does not impact you. So you can switch a lot of like your food within nuts and seeds and brown rice and different grains. But to specifically, like you said, one thing I would like to mention here, Esther, planning is very important. Create a weekly meal plan. Why? Because when we create a plan, it becomes easier to grab something from the plan that you had rather than, oh my gosh, I don't have any groceries now, what? So you just grab whatever is close to you or you are comfortable with. So it is very important that you plan, plan. It's my most favorite word. When you plan, you can go wrong. So, and then seek inspiration and support. There is so much community outside that has this information that might be around you, which you're not aware of. Make sure you find out. And like you said, Esther, there are hundreds of cookbooks and blogs and community that you can really collaborate and get to where
Yeah.
you have to. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to add one point because I've done so many of these interviews on the tofu point that you were mentioning. I believe the recommendation, certainly from some of the physicians that have been on the shows, we have two series, so either this show or other show, organic tofu is the way to go because soy is a heavily sprayed crop. And so the recommendation, it's great to have tofu, like you said, but that it should be organic.
Absolutely. And honestly, like I'm sure you have Costco in Canada, and many of you might be, or anywhere in US. I mean, that's my favorite store I get to. I mean, actually, the tofu you get is all organic. So thank you for bringing that up. I
I
will
know
endorse it.
I have a box from Costco of organic tofu. I think it's extra firm. I think
Yes.
there's like 5 of them in there in the
Yes.
box.
Oh,
So
yes.
that's one way what you were saying about planning is that if you do buy a bit of bulk, it lasts a long time. It's always there. If I'm looking for something to cook, oh yeah, I have a block of tofu in my fridge.
Absolutely. So planning, just, I would say the best day to plan would be Sunday afternoon, where you can plan and you can just roughly plan that what I'm going to eat next week, like, and of course, how many times I'm going to eat plant-based. And if you have few things ready, like chopped vegetables, or even you have cooked some grains in the batches, you have some beans, lentils ready. The only thing you will have to do is actually, put everything together and your meal is ready within 30 minutes.
Before we leave, I wanted to ask you if there's one takeaway that someone who's listened to this episode should have from you. What is it?
Health is wealth, and plant-based diet is the way to go. And why do I say this? Is just recently I was on Insta, and there was a celebrity on the hospital bed, and she had her reel, and that's what she said, that nothing mattered to me right now but my health and all that I have in my outer world in terms of, her bank balance or cars or houses or even anything didn't matter because her health was not good. So I would say planning is the key, like how you feel important of planning your life for your kids' future, for your vacations. Why would you not plan something for your own meal, which would give you a better health? Because health is wealth, and plant-based diet is the way to go.
Well said. Now, if someone wants to connect with you, how
Yes.
should they do that?
I can share my email. I can just say it right here. It's my first name, Shital. It's my middle initial K as in kite. Parikh, my last name at gmail.com. Shital K Parikh at gmail.com. It'll be my pleasure to connect with you too.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This was chock full of information. I hope people have found it useful and beneficial. And as I said, I am going to follow up with you, Shital, to get some links so we can put them in the show notes for everyone.
Absolutely. It will be my absolute pleasure. And thank you again, Esther, for having me and share my passion and the way of life I live. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope you found this episode helpful. Please share, rate, leave a review, and follow Plant-Based Diet on your favorite podcast listening platform and on the Alternative Food Network YouTube channel, where you can also find recipe videos. If you're on social media, please follow us on Instagram at Alternative Food Network. We also publish a monthly newsletter that includes plant-based recipes, our latest podcasts, and the occasional giveaway. You can sign up by going on our website at alternativefoodnetwork.com and click the newsletter sign up button. Until next time, thanks for listening. All content provided or opinions expressed in this podcast are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for professional medical advice. Please seek advice from your doctor or other qualified healthcare practitioner.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.